The field is actually closed. I don't know if you can see all the signs around the field. And there are people actually working on the field. So that could kick me off. If you are gonna go train barefoot, I wouldn't say these are the best conditions. It's like 8 a.m. in the morning, the grass is frosty. But this is the only option I really have. It's been raining also the last like 5 days super hard. And it's gonna start raining again tomorrow, super hard. Ideally, these aren't the best conditions to train barefoot in. You probably want it to be summer. Go to the beach or go on some grass that's less thick than this. But any grass is good. All right, let me put my cleats on. Oh. You guys get the toes for free. Can't believe I'm giving this content out for free. I think I chose the worst area for audio though. Back when I TikTok downloaded, I used to see this guy on my For You page. I think his name was like Football Entangled or something like that. And every time I saw his posts, I had no idea. He was talking about fascia, and at the time I had no idea what he was talking about. And his posts were so vague with no context, just trying to sell his course. So every time I saw them, I was like, this guy's a top level waffler. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But later on, I actually found the guy who trained this dude that made that page. And a lot of his posts started to make more sense. One of the main things Football Entangled talked about in his videos was how strength training ruins athleticism, which I don't think is true at all. If you do strength training the right way, and you train like an athlete and not a bodybuilder, I think you'll be fine. It'll make you a better player. And I noticed with this content a lot of the time, instead of telling people how to do the right thing or what the right thing was to do, he would just tell people that they were wrong and that what they've been doing their whole life has been wrong. You're not a baller, whatever. He was just waffling. Even though a lot of this stuff he was saying had good meaning behind it, the way of marketing it, he had good ideas, but he just had a bad way of conveying them. And in the end, his ideas weren't even his own. He stole them from another guy who I'll talk about in a minute. And around 3 months ago, I found the actual guy that Football Entangled stole all of his content from, who is Coach Chong Xie. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he's the one that has been researching fascia for over 10 years and actually has a lot of context behind his content and shows you how things work, shows you exercises you can do, people that have success stories, and he just has reasoning behind his content rather than just saying this is right and people have no idea why it's right. So I was watching a lot of his video. I've been watching a lot of his videos, his YouTube shorts and his longer form content for the last 3 months now. They're also just interesting to watch because I'm interested in seeing what fascia really is and how I can work on that. I know I'm gonna miss out on a lot of things that he covers in his videos. So if you guys wanna look more into fascia and that stuff, I'm gonna kind of break it more into simple terms so you guys can understand. Because when I hear fascia, or when I used to hear fascia, I had no idea what it was, so a lot of it sounded like it was just straight waffle. So I'm gonna break it down into more simple terms, maybe not fully related to fascia, but some things that playing barefoot helps with. And yeah, if you guys want to see his content and stuff, I'll drop it in the description. I'll put his YouTube channel and Instagram in the description so you guys can look more into that stuff. But I think his YouTube is better than his Instagram, which doesn't have as much content as his YouTube. I'm just gonna juggle for 10 to 15 minutes with the mini and big ball at the same time. But this is something that's easy to do. You don't need cones or anything. I'm gonna break up some of the key points that he makes in his videos and just explain them in simple terms so that hopefully you guys can remember easily when you're playing. The first point I wanna make is in regards to ankle stiffness and locking your ankle. So I don't really know, I'm not a scientist or anything, but just making sure that this tendon is active and keeps your ankle locked like this. I'm so bad at explaining, I'd be a horrible coach. But just making sure your ankle's locked whenever you play. If you watch any top level player, you'll see that most of the game they're never on their heels. They're always on the top of their foot, and they always, I would say for the most part, they always have their ankle locked, just so they're ready to react to anything, because it's easier to bounce. It's easier to bounce and accelerate off of the top of the ball of your foot, whatever it's called. It takes a lot longer for you to accelerate if your weight is on your heels. You have to move that weight all the way up to your toes, rather than already having the weight on your toes and just bouncing off like that. It's a lot faster. Like in boxing, you see a lot of people are always on their toes. But good boxers are always on their toes. So it comes with, I think, any top level sport. All the athletes tend to have their ankle locked and are able to bounce off and make a shorter ground contact time with more force. There's some studies on Coach Chong Xie's page, actually. I couldn't find them. I was trying to find them earlier, but something about high-level athletes, elite athletes, make shorter ground contact time with more force than the average athlete who will make a longer ground contact time with less force. And if you just think about it logically, if you're having a shorter ground contact time, it means you'll be able to burst out faster. And if you do it with more power, then nice. Go check out Chong Xie's page because he explains it a lot better. I'm not the scientist over here. The next key point, and probably the most important key point of the video, is just the idea that the feet are so important. And I think people neglect the power of your feet so much. Just think about how often you're on your feet every day. When you're walking around school or walking to class, even when you're sitting down, a lot of weight is on your feet. Is that true? I don't know. I'm a waffler, but we're not going to consider sitting down because that doesn't matter when you're playing. But think about how often you're using your feet when you're playing. Everything revolves around your feet. Changing direction, landing. So many different things require your feet to be strong and have good balance. So by training barefoot, a lot of the time and over the past, I don't know how many years since we've been wearing shoes, our feet have been squished in these shoes and they haven't really unlocked their full potential. So by playing barefoot, you're exercising the feet in different ways that the feet have never been engaged in before. The feet aren't used to getting this much feeling with the ground, if that makes sense. A lot of the time they're limited to the shoes and they don't fully bend. Like this simple action here, you can't really do that in cleats as smoothly because the cleat is pushing against the feet. And your feet are always sliding in the shoe if you have bad shoes and stuff like that. So it's just good to get the feet into their natural shape. They're not meant to be squished together like that. And it's important that in order to get them to their full strength, you're gonna wanna exercise them outdoors and stuff like that. And also I think playing barefoot is just a fun way to do that. You can just go outside barefoot and walk around, but why not just bring a ball with you and juggle or dribble or something like that. I think playing barefoot can also be considered grounding or earthing, which Holland actually posted a video of a long time ago of him doing grounding. So I think players, I don't know for sure, but I think a lot of players probably, especially when they were younger, played barefoot and just engage their feet a lot more. Just think about it, the stronger your feet are, the better you can land, the better you can change direction. Also, the faster you can change direction, because a lot of the weight that you're pushing off requires your feet to be strong and handle that weight. I wouldn't say that you should only play barefoot. Make sure you're playing with cleats as well, just so you get obviously used to playing with cleats when it comes to game time and stuff like that. But if you have time to play barefoot just for a little bit, you should try to play barefoot just so you're engaging your feet while you play. Coach Chong Xie, in his videos, he has 3 main exercises that you can do for your feet to strengthen them, or strengthen the fascia connection. So you can try out those. And I think those are pretty important as well. Just doing those a little bit. I don't know how often he recommends it, but just try maybe doing them every other day. I'd say that wouldn't be a bad idea because they're not too demanding on, obviously they don't engage your muscles, and if they're engaging your muscles, you're doing it wrong. But pretty much, just think about it, how much force is pushed through your toes when you're sprinting or when you're changing directions. Just think about it that way.
On the jet, that's fine, let's get to the point. Bitter and so shit, that's blind. Got 18 OGs up in my backpack, standing my values, I never backtrack off of these drugs. I saw the shit that I love, I know DJ told us to scratch that, ayy. Showed you where the raps are, I ain't no sat nav, won't understand that. Wire card maxed out, company blacked out, asking why they act like they don't rate. Where's your honor, Jay? We some bosses, brother, we don't wanna raise off the jet, cutting them think? Once in a lifetime, this is flick. Not in the sidelines, be in the ring. Wanna sit on my table, what did you bring? I see that eye so easy. I know they cause that evil eye, that chance to fool, no decent. You don't want to see 5 outside, that's fine. On my IG, they creeping, so feeble. Hate on the set, that's fine. Let me get to the point, no keeping. They bitter and so.
I think with the barefoot training, it's less focused on the actual football element of it and more focused on just developing your feet. So they don't have to be as hard. You can do it for like 30 minutes or so, and it'll be good.
On the set, that's fine. Let me get to the point, no Steven. They bitter and salty, shit, that's lime. Got 18 Ozies up in my backpack, standing my vibe.